Welcome to Thingamajigger Thursday here at Thingamajigger. It's my mini-series where I explain a unique or uncommon tool once a week. In today's episode, I'm going to clarify a couple things from last week's tool. Then we're going to go over this week's tool and have the drawing for this week's tool. And then we're going to give you a sneak peek at next week's tool. Let's jump right into it. All right, so first up, this was that battery terminal puller that I had showed last week. Mac is the brand name, Mac Tools, and they actually label this as a battery terminal puller. Now there was a couple comments and it kind of got a little heated, and I don't like to see that. And I can see both sides of that, and I don't want to act like I'm playing both sides of the fence. So it's really tough. It's just semantics, to tell you the truth. These are labeled as a battery terminal puller. Now, one of the comments said it's not a battery terminal puller, it's a battery clamp puller, referring to this as a clamp. Now I'm going to throw up a couple photographs here, a couple pictures just, from screenshotting online. These are sold at stores and labeled as battery terminals. And this exact tool and every tool like it is labeled on the package as a battery terminal puller. However, I jumped into a bunch of different websites that are battery terminology, all right? The words to specify the components of batteries, specifically automotive batteries. And on there, it labels the posts on a battery as terminals, which is correct, okay? So those are battery terminals, then what would that make this? You can't have two parts with the exact same name, right? So it's just a matter of semantics at that point. Most people, when they say, yeah, just pull the battery terminal off, this is what they're talking about. If you walk into an auto parts store and say, hey, where's your battery terminals at? They're gonna take you right over to these. If you ask for a battery terminal puller, that's what this would be called. Now, is it more correct that this is a battery terminal clamp or a cable clamp? A battery cable end clamp. Yeah, okay, I can agree with that. So nobody's right and nobody's wrong. There's no sense in arguing over the semantics of it. I think it's pretty common knowledge, what most people call these things, and it's perfectly acceptable to label them more specifically one way or the other. All right, so hopefully that's clear as mud and we can move on from that. All right, now last week's sneak peek tool or this week's tool, tons of great comments, lots of correct answers. I do want to read a comment from a fellow who actually grew up near the town that these were made. And we'll get to that in a second. But to explain what it is first, these are chain pliers. More specifically, they're labeled as tire chain, car tire chain pliers. I'll throw up a picture here. This is from the manufacturer. Well, not from the manufacturer, but I don't have the box that these ones came in, but here's a photo of what it looks like coming, with the original box. Now, when I first looked these up myself, the first thing I saw was an eBay post right here, and it says bicycle chain pliers. And that's how they have it labeled on an eBay sale. And I don't see how that could be, especially when the actual manufacturer's box says tire chain pliers on it. And so I'll give you a quick demonstration on how these things work. I actually have a tire chain or part of a tire chain right here. So most tire chains, you would have a long chain, right, with these cross links in between. So what a pair of these pliers would be good for when you need to either replace a cross chain or move it, you got these end links here, and you would take your skinny side, right there, you put it in between there, and then when you squeeze it, it actually opens up that chain or that link. See how it spread that out? I'll go a little bit further. Actually, we'll just take the whole thing off. See it opening up? Flip it around, do the same thing on the other side. Now see how that can slip right off, okay? And then to reverse that, you would use the other side, this side. You can see that, yep, right there. Make sure your cross-link connector link is in place. Then you can bend out and bend it back in place. And amazingly, I could not find a single video of these pliers being used to do its intended purpose. Nowhere online, so hopefully I get kudos from YouTube for original content. I don't know. I'm sure somewhere, somehow, there was a demonstration video. And there we go. Now it's hooked back in, nice and snug the way it was. Can't fall off, right? Let's snug this one down a little bit more. Okay, so that's how those would be used. And I think this is a one piece. You put this around just one side, rather than having it, these cross links go all the way around your tire. This just gets strapped around the tire in one spot. So it'll give you a little bit extra traction, but not like having it all the way around. And this is an emergency set that I picked up at an auction quite a while ago. Just old school. I like this kind of stuff when I pick it up. I'm probably never gonna use these, but they're neat to have, I think. So anyway, that's the tire chain pliers. And regarding their use on bicycle chain, I just don't see how it would be used. Maybe at some point we'll have an actual, let me grab one real quick. All right, now this chain here is just a representation. This is obviously way bigger than a standard bicycle chain, but the same concept would apply. These pliers aren't gonna do a darn thing to a chain like that. There is nothing they would do to it. In order to work on a chain like this or a bicycle chain, you have to have a chain breaker, which I could do a separate video on that at some point, and I might, but this is a chain breaker for this style chain. These pliers would not work for that. So the eBay listing is definitely incorrect. All right, so now real quick, I wanna go over the story that one of our contributors or our commenters had posted. It's really cool, so just bear with me for a minute. These pliers were made in Derby, Connecticut, I believe is what it's called. Anyway, so here we go. And I don't know if he wants me to actually say this with his name. I mean, it's in the comments, but I don't know if he wants it broadcast everywhere. So I'll just keep the name out of it. You can see his comment if you want to do that. It's on the comment is on the previous video. As a native from New Haven County, this mystery tool, the Model P tire chain plier, has a personal connection to me. You can still see the same building this chain tool was made if you walk down Hawkins Street in Derby, Connecticut, as I once did as a teenager. It recently was occupied by National Breaker Services LLC until they moved to Middletown, Connecticut, and was converted into a loft studio residential property like most of the old buildings in New Haven. Think Winchester Repeating Arms Co. Same ending, all turned into lofts, but at least the buildings are still there. I always wonder what it would have been like walking down Winchester Avenue in New Haven or Hawkins Street, Derby, back in the turn of the century. The hum of the machinery and skilled workers laboring from sunup to sundown. Anyhow, early history of the Hershey Metal Products building. This was indeed a chain tool made by Hershey Metal Products Co. The earliest part of the building complex, spanning roughly 6 blocks, was built in 1902 after a fire completely destroyed the original Derby Comb Company's street shop in 1892. Derby Comb moved into it around 1902 and ceased its operation in 1915. The building complex was then subsequently used by Consolidated Tool Works, Inc. in the early 1920s. Around 1925, it was acquired by Hershey Metal Products Company until the early 1950s. So that tool, these tire chain pliers, so that tool dates somewhere between 1925 to 1950. The building is currently a candidate for Connecticut State Register of Historical Places, or Historic Places. So I really appreciate that. If you guys got stories on any of the tools that I'm showing, that's not something, you're generally going to be able to find on the internet. Having a personal connection like that in the town that the tool was made, that is just really awesome. And I can't thank you enough for that comment. And again, I just really appreciate it. A couple other quick things here. One of the comments mentioned these as possibly being used as C-clip pliers for like upholstery, and I'm assuming that he's talking about hog rings. And I have my hog ring sets here, and I'll take a quick look. So for those that don't know, and this might be another tool, but these aren't really all that uncommon. I mean, this is obviously old, but that is a hog ring, and it is used to put together upholstery, and you would put it inside like that and then squeeze down. I don't want to waste up my hog rings for no reason, but I don't see how Like there's a smaller one, so we got two different sizes here. And I don't see how, I mean, I suppose you might be able to somehow or another fit a smaller hog ring in there, but I mean, here's another pair of hog ring pliers. And then, let's see, maybe for really small ones, like one of these. Maybe, let's try it. So here's a smaller clip that would be used in a similar circumstance, like, yeah, but it's so thin, you know, trying to get something to stay inside of there would be really tough. There's that one, and then there's these other clips. Let's see. And we have these other hog rings. We'll try a couple of each. So something like one of these maybe, I don't know. Depending on the size, it may or may not work. That one's definitely not gonna work. I don't even know what that one is, to tell you the truth. Okay, so I don't see how these tire chain pliers could work like that. So, but like I said, that might be a different video. Now here's a different pair of hog ring pliers. You can see how they would work. Just pinch down and boom, there you go. So anyway, I appreciate the comment. And if there's some other way that could be done, please, again, throw it in the comments and I'll look into it. I'm not sure how that would work in this application. All right, so there was that comment. This is the tool that Miss Linda, the Facebook acquaintance I made, this is the one I bought. Now this one is really cool. I won't be listing this one. So this week going into next week, we won't be having a drawing. Which don't let me forget, I'll set this out here so I don't forget, but we still got to do the drawing for that. But this is next week's tool, and this is really cool. She had this posted on a forum, Facebook forums, asking what it is. And now that I know what it is now, but man, it is old and it is cool. This is probably something I'll hang on a wall. I might put this up for the giveaway, just cause, but this is just one of those really cool, I want to hang it on the wall kind of things. So if you have any idea on what this tool is, go ahead and throw it in the comments. Sorry, we're not having a giveaway for next week, but you know, go ahead and throw your guesses or comments, or if you got any information on it too, that'd be fantastic as well. And got an adjuster screw here, rotates. This is a locking mechanism, it looks like. A little bit rusted. I'll probably clean it up a little bit before next week's tool, or before next week's episode. So that's the whole tool, and an extra piece. If you do know what it is, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say there's an extra piece in here. So really, really cool. So again, a special thanks to Linda. She sent me this, and yeah, that's just fantastic. All right, now on to the drawing. We had 6 entries into the drawing for today. Apatula, Michael, Valentine, Brandon Hayes, Seymour, Jim Persinger, or Jim Persinger, maybe, I don't know, Rob Bacon. So I got six coins here, or 6 poker chips. I'll toss them all in the bucket, and we'll try to get just one to fall out. Number 5, that's Jim. All right, Jim, congratulations. Go ahead, reply to your own comment. Actually, I'm sorry, send me an email at twosawacres, that's TWOSAWACRES @gmail.com. I'll reply to your comment in the, hold on. I'll reply to your comment with Two Saw Acres. You can, cut and paste if you need to, but send me an email at Two Saw Acres, and I will give you a 4-digit code that you can then throw back in the comment section, replying to my comment with the email. That way I know it's actually you. There's 2 different sources for verification there, and you can go ahead and shoot me in either in the first email or in a second email your address, and I'll go ahead and get these tire chain pliers shipped out to you free of charge. All right, so hey, thanks for sticking around today. I know we had a lot of stuff to cover. I really do appreciate all the comments and the interaction that's going on here. I really enjoy this old, classic, uncommon, unique tool kind of stuff. You know, a lot of like this is antiquated. This will never actually be used for real life again, for a real business or anything. So it's just a cool part of history, and I love figuring these things out. Again, if you got any questions, comments, or suggestions, you know the drill for that, and we'll see you next week.